Hello, welcome back to Learning Curves. I'm Anastasia, and I don't know about you. I probably do know about you because I'm pretty sure this is universal. Every year, I get stressed about holiday gift buying. I yelled at my sister this year because like a month ago, she was like, I think I finished Christmas shopping. And I was like, how dare you? Especially now that there are supply chain issues and the world is on fire. I feel more and more guilt about consumerism and the garbage that we throw away, the literal garbage that we throw away. You know, even some of the gifts that I receive that I know are going to be donated and maybe very quickly become garbage. I have a lot of stress about it. So this year I've been trying to be more proactive about it, and I have been doing a lot of researching, watching a lot of sustainable YouTube channels, minimalist YouTube channels, and I've compiled a list of some ideas to share with you on how to have a greener Christmas and maybe more of a minimalistic Christmas. So I want to share a quote with you from a New York Times article. This is not about being a Grinch, canceling Christmas, or trying to pass a minimalist purity test. It's about breaking out of a consumer mindset that demands we constantly buy things that we must then care for and eventually dispose of. And while we're in NoMoVember, I will link that video. I'm thinking a lot about decluttering and paring down and about the cost of caring for a thing in your home. And I don't want that. I don't want that for myself, and I don't want to give that to other people. That's not a gift, that's a job. I'm not saying don't buy anything. I mean, make your own choices, obviously. You can just stop watching this video altogether, but please don't. This is just about sharing some ideas that you can consider incorporating into some of the gifts you give this year. And here we go. So the first thing is an experience. You can, of course, gift a restaurant gift certificate, especially if it's a restaurant that you love that maybe the person you're gifting is not familiar with. You could also gift an escape room experience. Or in St. Louis, I know we have a lot of places that will do wine tastings or scotch tastings, if that's something that the person you're gifting is of age and interested in. Or memberships, maybe to a zoo or a museum. For instance, in St. Louis, we have the zoo and the St. Louis Science Center. Something similar that I'm going to make a distinction on is number 2, an online class. I have a subscription to Skillshare. I know there are so many YouTubers who partner with Skillshare, not me, because I'm little. But if you watch like any YouTube video where somebody gets sponsorships, especially like DIY or productivity, there's a discount code in like all of them for Skillshare. Masterclass has always looked really interesting to me. And then a course that my husband and I gifted ourselves and then we gifted to my mom is the Big Little Feelings toddler course. If you know anyone who is about to have a 1 through 6 year old or has a 1 through 6 year old that they're having trouble communicating with, not just verbally communicating with, but that they're, having behavior issues, Big Little Feelings is world changing. It is generational changing. It's a big deal. Cannot recommend it enough. The course is $99. It's such a steal. Such a steal. I highly recommend that. This one might seem obvious and like a cheat, but gift cards. Gift cards, any kind. You could do Amazon gift cards or big box store gift cards. You could also do grocery gift cards or pick your favorite store. One store that I really like, we'll get to that. Next up, depends on how well you know the person, but labor. Maybe you have a skill that someone else needs, or maybe someone just needs actual help. So labor that we appreciate receiving is childcare, babysitting. That would be wonderful. Are you kidding me? If somebody was like, hey, I'll give you 6 hours of babysitting. But also I have a lot of family members who just give me babysitting for free. And then the biggest category that I intend to get most of my gifts through is secondhand. I am on Facebook Marketplace, maybe an unhealthy amount. Marissa Zen has a YouTube video where she lists out 10 different categories of toys that children need. I super recommend that video, but there are 2 categories that I felt like we didn't really have enough of those things currently in-house. One of those categories is books. While we have a lot of books, I did just declutter our kids' books. There are some subjects that I'd like to discuss more with my daughter and have literature to help me along with. She's talking a lot about girls and boys, and I know that at school they're talking more about private parts. I want to guide those conversations more. I want to be active in those conversations with her. So I got some books about body parts and gender, and I was able to get all of those except for one secondhand. The thing I struggle with purchasing secondhand, especially books, is I know a lot of authors. I want to be able to support authors of small books, but I was of the mindset that if there were enough options, that there were quite a few secondhand, my thought was they must be selling the book pretty well. So I purchased secondhand in those instances, and I bought firsthand on one of them. And the other category is movement. So I have my eye on some climbing apparati on Facebook Marketplace that I can get locally. And there are these super cute wooden balance bikes. I think balance bikes are super cool, and I'm excited to get one for our 3-year-old. And then some climbing things for both of our kids. I think when we think secondhand, we often think used and no good, but also think about the expression, they don't make it like they used to. You know, we have onesies that we got from my sister from her son who's now 9. And the thickness of those onesies versus the onesies we've purchased recently, completely different. They don't make them like they used to, and that was only 9 years ago. So I am very much considering looking for specific secondhand items, even for adults. The kids aren't gonna notice, and kids are a great category to purchase secondhand for. Think of how quickly kids outgrow things, or sometimes kids get gifted duplicates, or they just aren't interested in a certain thing. Because of that, there's so much turnover when you have kids, which means that parents should just have a virtual swap meet, which is what's happening on Buy Nothing groups, on Facebook Marketplace, and other sites where you can sell things secondhand. I just bought some clothes for myself from ThredUp. Those haven't come in yet, but I'll let you know what I think about them. If you haven't looked on secondhand sites, I think you'll be really surprised to see the quality and diversity of stuff that you can find on there. My husband loves all things Batman and Steelers, so whenever I'm at a loss for something that's gonna make him cry, I usually just look up Batman sports bar, Steelers movies, or Steelers gear or whatever on secondhand sites and see what comes up. There is an eco YouTuber who I just found, a green, earth-friendly, I don't know what she calls herself, Shelby on YouTube, Shelbizleee. Something she said on her channel, which has really stuck with me, is the most environmentally friendly option is the one you already have. Thinking about that is going to help me not feel as guilty about using things I have that I know aren't recyclable or maybe weren't made in the most environmentally friendly way. It doesn't make me feel like I need to get rid of all of the things that I have and replace them with greener options, because that would actually in fact be less green. Actually, in fact, also because sometimes indeed. Something else I really like to gift are consumables. Pretty much every year I make one batch edible thing. Last year it was caramel, salted caramel. This year I'm thinking about making something savory, maybe a roasted nut mix, a seasoned nut mix, maybe a soup mix, or there's a granola recipe from Oshi Glows from her second cookbook, I think, that I love. So maybe a giant batch of that and give some of those out in mason jars. But consumables, especially in reusable packaging, like I do with putting it in mason jars, is an excellent option. Another type of consumable that I love to gift are bath products, specifically from Lush. I love Lush. I love Lush. I love that company. I love their practices. I love their products. Luxurious. They use very minimal packaging. When you go into the store and you buy a bath bomb, they have a very thin, small paper bag that they'll put it in, but there's no it's not in any packaging. Soap is shipped to the store in like a loaf of soap, and the bars at least. And then they do have some plastic bottles of body wash. I love the Honey I Washed the Kids. Oh, smells so good. I love their Skin Shangri-La. So expensive. It's like $50 but it does last a long time. And I love how it feels on my skin. It feels so luxurious. And then their Sleepy products, specifically their Sleepy lotion. I use that on my babies. And I mean, like all the stuff. So I love Lush themselves, and I also love gifting them. I think their bath bombs feel really luxurious. All of it, everything Lush. So if I go through that whole list and I'm still not finding anything that I really want to give to someone, then I'm going to support small and ideally local businesses. The only downside to that is that I can give a receipt, but it's not as convenient as purchasing something from, say, Target or Amazon and giving someone that gift with a receipt. That's, of course, much more returnable, although apparently the stuff that you return doesn't often get resold. Amazon doesn't actually take back the stuff you return. They put them on pallets and they sell those. I don't know if you've heard about that. Anyway, and if you purchase from a small business, you could potentially give someone a gift receipt and they could potentially exchange it at that small business, but that doesn't mean they'd have to go to that business. So when I purchase from a small local business, especially if I'm gifting it to someone who doesn't live locally, I just have to know that I put the effort in and that at the very least, I'm supporting that small business owner and feel good about that. Plus, most of the people I'm gifting things to, I think, would like the idea of getting something from a small shop. Maybe consider buying something recycled or made from recyclable materials. There's a company called Earth Hero that Shelby from that YouTube channel I was talking about will go on and on and on about, and they do have a lot of really cool products. Unfortunately, a lot of them are sold out right now. I think supply chain issues. If none of that struck any inspiration, I'm gonna link some videos below that go further into some other ideas, especially green, eco-friendly, and minimalist ideas, so that you can have more inspiration on where and how you shop this holiday season. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like this video and please subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye. Happy holidays, happy gifting, and happy... What's the opposite of consuming? Not.